final guests are, of course, successful entrepreneurs themselves, and they're here to share their wisdom with our audience.
Let's welcome Maurice Assia, CEO of Chozen Comforts, and Chad Brittain, CEO of NVS Design. How you guys doing?
Hey, welcome to the show. Tell us quickly, what do you guys do?
My full-time business is commercial real estate and development. We're designated developers for several large corporations, but I've had other startups in the past, one which I recently sold during a merger and acquisition, which was Fuel Meals, and now we are venturing into the world of CBD.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow, okay.
Big change. So NVS Design, we're a full-service advertising, marketing, graphic design agency in 3 major markets. We're actually based in Indianapolis, Indiana, also in Beverly Hills, California, and Chicago, Illinois.
Wow.
Not too bad, right?
Yeah.
Flyover states. We try to get you guys.
try to
We've had
get you
2
guys,
on this
yeah.
show. You guys are a rare. You guys are a rare breed. Usually, this is left-right coast people.
We are a little bit of a rare breed, but that's what makes us so special, so it's a good thing.
So, why did you veer from commercial real estate, which for most people is pretty profitable, into all these side businesses? Does entrepreneurship give you energy? Is it for extra income? What's the reason?
I look at it from an opportunity standpoint. The last business that we did was the prepared meals business. We were one of the first to market. Personally, I thought it was going to be a disaster, but in our first 10 months, we did over $1 million in sales.
Wow.
After a while, I kind of lost my passion for it, and that's why I decided to convert my remaining shares. CBD, more or less along the same lines. We built several social media pages that had hundreds of thousands of followers, and saw an opportunity, low cost of entry, profitable products. That's kind of the reason why I made the pivot to that.
If you thought it would be a disaster, why did you still go into it?
That's a great question.
That's a very good question. I didn't think that people would be receptive to the idea of having food delivered to their homes. As you probably all know now on social media, you see several companies that are doing these delivered
I have
Sure.
a friend who's one of the multimillionaires behind one of the big ones.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
So, that's kind of the reason why I was a little hesitant about it. I didn't think that it would have connected with a lot of people, but, fortunately for us, it did in a very big way.
Well, see, because a lot of times it's other people don't think you'll be there, right? But if you didn't believe it in the first place, why do it?
Like I said, I saw an opportunity.
But you still thought that was going to be a disaster.
I thought so. There was a lot of kinks that we needed to figure out, from a shipping standpoint. There was a lot of growing pains. We were losing money on certain orders, So, yeah, there was a lot to work out in the first
Realistic
year.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So tell us about your forays in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so I started basically from nothing right when the recession came. So we'll actually be celebrating 10 years with the agency come 2020. And so everyone's like, what are you doing? Why would you start your own business at this time when our country's, at a very bad place?
Well, all of us were
It's not a
that
good idea.
age, so what are we supposed to do?
Well, but ultimately,
nothing?
it's like you can complain, or ultimately you can do something to change your future. And at the end of the day, there weren't a lot of opportunities at that time available for me in that space. And so it's like, you know what? I'm going to take this into my own hands and do what I need to do.
You were probably in your early 20s.
Absolutely.
What else?
Yeah, it was right out of college. So, you're kind
You
of
were in the Midwest?
Yes, absolutely. So it's something that I had always wanted to do, and it's like I'm going to create my own opportunity and make this happen. And then over the years, we've just done a really great job of showcasing what we're really good at, which is becoming an integral part into our clients' everyday marketing strategies and just really helping them grow exponentially so quickly. So that's why we kind of made those additional moves out to LA and then Chicago most recently. So.
And you believed you were gonna.
I absolutely believed. I had everyone else probably saying otherwise,
Which is
because
normal.
it's easy
Yeah.
for people to be like,
course.
I don't know if that's
Yeah.
going to work out, or what makes you so different from your competitors. But at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself and at least give it a shot, then I feel like, what are you doing it in the first place for? And I can understand and appreciate where he comes from too. It's like,
I'm more like you, funny enough. So I've been involved
And
in
that's
ventures
fair.
where I don't believe, and somehow I've still made it
Okay.
work. So I don't think that's actually that outlandish.
Okay.
Well, because, listen, there's something that you need to understand me as an entrepreneur. I don't like to paint a rosy picture.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is
hard,
rough,
yeah.
it's gritty. There was days where, I questioned myself as to what I was doing because I have degrees, where I can go and work for somebody else and make, $150,000, $200,000 a year. and I'm sitting there in my office, pulling a paycheck once every 3 months, and deciding
that.
That's
what I wanna do.
entrepreneurship.
Hey, could you really work
So-
for someone else though too? I think that's part of
well,
it.
that's part of the
Yeah.
part of the reason why I've worked for myself, because I'm an alpha personality. I can't have a boss. I'm not good with authority in that regard. I'm a team player, but I can't have somebody micromanage what I'm doing on a daily basis. I always tell people I'd rather make $20,000 a year working for myself than make $150,000, because if I'm working for myself, I'm not capping myself at $150,000. I'm making whatever I deserve in terms of what I'm putting out to the public. So if I work harder, I can make more than $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year. It's really contingent upon how much effort I put into something.
Would you be okay if you end up not 20 grand? If you end up negative 20 grand, which is possible,
I mean, that's part of it,
would you
right?
be okay with that?
Yeah, everything's on the line
have
with
to be.
entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
right?
You have to be, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, 9 times out of 10, when you're starting a new business, you're personally guaranteeing everything. A bank is looking for 3 to 5 years of financial history before they're allowing you to do a corporate guarantee. So any startup that I've done, I've personally guaranteed it. I've guaranteed loans up to $2 or $3 million in the past for startup companies. So yeah, there's always a risk, but at the end of the day, what's the worst that could happen? It's money. You go belly up and you lose your shirt. You might have to file for bankruptcy. Thank God I've never had to do that. But, I mean, there's really, for me, it's worth the risk.
We turn
being
around and
upside
make
down.
more,
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's one thing that I'm really proud of is I started from nothing, and all of the capital that we actually made out of the agency, I've reinvested back into the other markets, and we're still debt free. So not many companies can say that, and you are always taking on potential, heartache or risk when you do things like this. But at the end of the day, that's what makes us different in that respect too.
Yeah, I do not personally think your reputation risk is a factor here, because I personally would give either you and many other people credit, even if you don't, quote unquote, succeed in terms of your balance sheet.
Sometimes it's out of your control.
Yeah, it's out of your control. Could be, may well be.
mean, there's
out
a lot
your
of things that
control.
can
But
change it,
what do
yeah.
you guys see? Because there are also some people who come on to our shows, other shows we do elsewhere. They say, "Oh, there is a reputation risk. It means you don't have your act together."
I mean, I think that's a misconception, though, at the end of the day, because if you look at a lot of successful entrepreneurs in general, they've had failures. I mean, we were talking about that earlier. It's like you have to have some of those failures to appreciate when you succeed. And I think that really trains you to be that much better of a business-minded individual to be able to make sure that your future endeavors are more successful. And if we didn't have those failures, I mean, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And I think that's a humbling aspect too that a lot of my clients appreciate. That's one of the things in our pitch. We want them to consider us as a partner when they hire us. And I think knowing the struggles and the angst that we've dealt with over the years, it makes it a little bit more personable to where they have an appreciation of we know where they're coming from and potentially what they're afraid of too.
Yeah, see, I can't tell you how many times I've heard, "Hey, Amazon wasn't in the black for 2 decades."
Right.
True.
Yeah.
But
Right.
who's going to wait with you for 2 decades? And how do you guarantee you're the next Amazon, right?
Well-
You can't.
Well, I want to piggyback on what Chad said right now about failure. It's about changing your mindset. As an entrepreneur, you have to accept failure because it's inevitable in one way or another. But I don't define it as failure. I define it as a learning experience. Because if you don't have these failures, you can't really make the necessary adjustments to continue to grow the business. You might be able to fail in one aspect of the business while growing 17 different aspects of the business. So it's really about changing the mindset. I know the viewership for you guys is a lot of younger Gen Z millennials, and if I could give them one piece of advice is not to get so easily frustrated, not to give up,
Right.
and not look at it as a failure, but look at it as a learning experience.
I mean, you constantly have to be learning. In today's, age, there's so much technology and so many things
you
that are
can't
coming
know
at us.
everything.
I mean, it's changing. I mean, especially in my industry, and staying on top of it is extremely frustrating at times. And there's times we miss the curve, and I'm okay to admit that. But the thing is taking that and then how can we prevent that from happening again? How can we make sure that we're doing everything in our power to be at the best of our ability? And I think that's one thing that personally we really excel at, and that's one thing, piggybacking off of what he said, that it's extremely important to don't get frustrated, because there are going to be times that you're not going to believe in yourself and you're going to get really upset and you're going to think, I can't do this. But at the end of the day, if you genuinely believe in yourself and push through, you're going to find a way to make it through.
Okay, so we're almost out of time, but I want to talk about these failures because that's a major theme in this
Yeah.
show. Because
Enjoys the failure. I don't know how much I could go back to the
entrepreneurship
failure.
shows about failure. There's a lot of failure. So I want to hear just very short failure stories.
My first business in the private sector failed miserably. Now, I have a teaching degree. I was a teacher when I started this first business. The business failed in March. I had no source of income. I couldn't go back to teaching, so I had to withdraw my 401k and my pension from teaching to get by for the next 6 to 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not good. So mine is not personal, because we've been very fortunate in that respect from the inception of the company. But we had a client that came to us, and we did everything in our power from the inception of the actual product, service, everything that we absolutely could to make sure that this product succeeded. And unfortunately, no matter what we did, it didn't work. And I think it was timing and the market.
No, but yeah, it doesn't have to be a whole business failing. I'm saying you.
Me
Yeah.
personally,
Yes.
like in
You gotta
life.
get personal.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
life, well, I mean, I guess in life, I mean, gosh, I mean, I've had lots of, I mean, I've been fired from jobs. I'm lucky just because, I mean, essentially I started this company right out of college. So, I mean, this is what I've been doing, like I said, for 10 years. So we've been very fortunate.
But you have been fired. We've all
I've
been fired, by the way.
I mean, I have been fired, so I'm not extremely proud of that, but it did make me a stronger person, I will say that. So it definitely helped me to see what I wanted to have in my employees, and, so that helped me to better position
And
myself.
that
at
was the
agency.
answer.
See, there
I
we
was
go. That's
looking
fair.
for.
I was trying
Listen,
to give
we've
the
all
politically
been fired.
correct.
if you haven't been fired, I
Fair
don't
enough.
feel like you've
You
truly
haven't
lived.
lived.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
I wear the times I've been fired as a badge of honor and courage.
As long as you don't have like a punch card, then I feel like we're good, right? Like for all the times you've been fired.
Yeah,
can
it's
not
like
good.
it's like a frequent meal
Yeah.
card, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you just-
That's
9 times get one.
Potentially.
Well, you guys' entrepreneurial journey is fascinating, and we thank you for taking the time to talk to us and our audience
Yeah.
about your journey.
Thank
Thank
you
you for having
coming.
us on. Absolutely.